Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi wahda, wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da, amma ba'd. We have been looking at the basic Arabic for beginners, and today we start a new topic, which is dhama'ir. Dhama'ir, plural of dhamir, it means pronoun. Pronoun, a noun which has been mentioned before, and in place of it, you use another word. That word refers to the same noun or same, mention of the name of someone. So he, she, it, that's what it means. So pronoun in place of noun. It replaces, and then in Arabic, we have about different forms for singular, for plural, like English, but also for dual, as you know. And likewise, it's different for male and female, but also for the second person, there is difference between male and female, unlike English, where you just have you for both. So this make it a little bit more complex, where you have more pronouns. So the third person, that's traditionally we start off with he. So you would have for singular form huwa in Arabic, huwa, and for dual it is huma, and hum is plural. And you've done this gardan, this paradigm, and you memorize it. I hope you still do keep it to your memory, which is huwa huma hum, hiya huma hunna, anta antuma antum, anti antuma antunna, ana nahnu. So ideally should have been 6 times 3, 18, but we do not have these two. So for example, these three, yes, these three, yes, yes, yes. Up here, ana and nahnu is for both. Nahnu is for dual and plural both. And likewise, nahnu is for masculine and feminine, same way. Ana is for masculine and feminine, same way. So out of these 18, they are duplicated. So huwa, huma, hum, I don't know whether you can see them, but let me get the marker. Yes. So huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti. They duplicate antuma, antuma with the same thing for 2 male, 2 female, or 1 male and 1 female. Antunna and ana, nahnu. Nahnu for both dual and plural, and also for singular and plural. You don't need these, which would work for both. Ana for masculine and feminine both. So this is why you have 14 less here. Ideally, actually, you have 12, because these two should be single and single, so 12. But traditionally, they keep it 14, just to keep the rhythm. Same word for few of those. So dhama'ir. So dhamir is of 2 types. Either it is munfasil or muttasil. Munfasil and muttasil. Munfasil, there is a fasl, there is a gap there, which is separate. And it is muttasil, which is connected. It is part of a word. It is attached. So attached and detached, separated. So, and all of these dhama'ir, these pronouns, they are mabniyat. They are mabni. Mabni means they are indeclinable, firmly fixed. They do not move. They are just firmly fixed. They do not have any i'rab on them, means that you can't change their i'rab. They are just stuck in all 3 forms. They do not move. Obviously, that is why we call it mahallan. Marfu, mansub, or majroor. Mahallan. Mahal means place. With regards to their position in the sentence, they should be marfu. Why? Because they're becoming subject, mubtada, or khabar. Or they are mansub mahallan, because in this place they should be in the mansub state, because that's the position they're in. But they're not showing it because they're firmly fixed. They're completely, impermeable. So what would happen? They would not show the change, but they are in the position where if they were able to change themselves or accept any change, had they been malleable, they would have shown their mabni state, mansub state, sorry. So we call it mahallan. Position-wise, they are mansoob, although it's not showing. This is the term they use. And likewise, majroor. Okay. So the muttasil, so technically it should be 6, isn't it? So 3 muttasil, 3 munfasil, marfu, mansoob, majroor. But you just have marfu and mansoob for muttasil and munfasil both. So 4 plus 1 majroor, 5. Okay. So you do the munfasil, which is separated, you do not have anything as majroor dhamir, which makes it 5 categories as opposed to 6. So look at that and then it will make it easy. So, for example, this kataba, you know there is a dhamir in it because every verb has a dhamir, has a pronoun within it, which is the doer of that verb, which is huwa in this case. If you say kataba, how do you translate it? You say he wrote. So that he is hidden in it. Okay. So that he is the doer of that action of writing, kataba. He wrote. So this is marfu. Why is it marfu? Because the doer, we know, is in marfu state by default. Fa'il is in marfu state. And why muttasil? Because it is within the word or attached to the word. Likewise, sami'u. Sami'u. Now, sami'u has got waw at the end. That waw is the dhamir of plural masculine, hum. Hum sami'u, they heard. Now, what is the difference between sami'u and kataba? Like from the dhamir point of view. They both are marfu, they both are muttasil, but there's a subtle difference, which you've learned as well before. In kataba, the dhamir is called hidden. Why? Because you can't see it. It's called dhamir mustatar. In sami'u, you say dhamir muttasil yet bariz. Bariz means you can see it. It's shining. It's showing itself. Abadna, the noon there is dhamir of feminine plural form. Jama muannas. Abadna, they all. Okay. Munfasil. Again, marfu, munfasil. Marfu, munfasil. They're the same. These two are the same. They should be marfu as well. Marfu, munfasil. Huwa, huma, hum, and like up to the end. These are separated. They are not attached to the word, like verb or noun. They are separated. Not even to the harf. So these are munfasil dhamir. Now next is mansoob muttasil. Mansoob. Allama hu. So attached muttasil and mansoob. Why is it mansoob? This who is the attached one with a fi'l. Whenever a dhamir is attached to a fi'l, it becomes the object of that action, that verb. So allama means to teach. So allama hu. What does that mean? In allama, you have that he as a doer. So he taught who? Him. This who is not the doer, but rather the object of this action, the one who is being taught. So allamahu, he taught him. Is that clear? So remember that, and we mentioned it before as well. Any attached pronoun to a verb is its object, is maf'ul. And that is why it is mansoob. Now you may say, oh, I saw a dhamma, I see this dhamma here. It doesn't matter. Allamahu, because dhamir are mabniyat. They don't change their declension. They do not show what they are. But they are mahallan mansoob. Why? Because they're in place of an object. An object is mansoob. So it should have been mansoob, and it is mansoob. But mahallan, positional mansoob. Not apparent mansoob. You can't see it. Likewise, allamtu ka. Who is the doer here, by the way? Allamtu ka. I. Allamtu. I taught you. So allamtu. This tu is I. Not like Urdu tu, which means you. It is Arabic tu, ta with dhamma, it means I. So I taught in the past. I taught you. Ka is attached dhamir here. This tu is the dhamir, which is the doer, which here was dhamir baris. This is barir. This is mustatar, hidden. This is showing itself. And that is the doer huwa. Here the doer is I. And ka is the attached pronoun mansub muntasil. Mansub because it is object. Munfasil. Again, mansub munfasil. Iyahu. So see, who is separated from iya. That's the only one. Iya and iyaka. That's the only munfasil one. And they are mansub. Iyaka. To you. To him. Iyahu. To him. To you. From you. So making it emphasized. So iyaka na'budu. So if you say na'buduka, 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 what does that mean? Na'buduka. For example, if you say na'buduka, let me see if I could write it down just to make it easy. Arabic, and try to get a text here. So if I say na'buduka, na'buduka. So na'buduka, you can see it, yeah? Na'buduka means we, na'budu, we, na'budu, we, this, we, budu, we worship. We worship. Ka, you. So we are us as in doer of ibadah. We are the doer. We are the doer of this action of ibadah. Ka, you. Oh Allah, na'buduka. We worship you. Okay. So there's a difference between this and if we say Iyaka. Iyaka na'budu. So the difference is the emphasis. You only do we worship. That is why we say iya. So when you say na'buduka, it could mean that we worship you. A'buduka, I worship you. Ta'buduka, you worship you. Ya'buduka, he worship you. But ta'buduka, she worships you. Whatever, but na'buduka, we worship you. It means that we worship you. It doesn't negate the fact that you may be implying that possibility that I worship elsewhere, someone else as well. So I worship you, but also him, or the idols, na'udhu billah. So that is why it doesn't confirm the true monotheistic belief. So rather you say, Iyaka na'budu, only you do we worship. So Iyaka, only you. So this is the object of worship, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why it is called Zamir Munfasil, separated, because Iya is separate, Ka is separate, and it has emphasis anyway. So that's that. Okay, so let's go back. Then you have Dhamir. Oh, it's going to stay there. I didn't know that. Let me see if I could. How to erase it. Oh, good. Learning a new technique. But finally, this one. Majroor. Majroor muttasil. So we said majroor muttasil is the only one applicable, not munfasil. There's no majroor munfasil dhamir in Arabic. So lahu, for him. Lahu, for him. So la is a harf. Hu is the attached pronoun. And why is it majroor? Because la is harf jar. Harf jar gives you preposition, which gives you majroor state. So mahallan majroor. Okay. Mahallan majroor. Because Dhama'ir, all the pronouns are mabniyat. That's why you don't see a kasra there. You don't have to see, by the way. It is all dependent on how they pronounce to make it easy. Alaykum, likewise. Alaykum, ala and kum. So jar majroor. Yeah, this is majroor muttasil. Kitabuhu, his book. Mudaf mudaf ilayh. Kitabuhu. Again, that's another way. So who is? So you remember I said a dhamir attached pronoun to a verb is mansoob because it is maf'ul. Attached pronoun to ism is always majroor because it is mudaf ilayh. Most of the time. Exception is always there, but generally. So kitabuhu, his book, book of him, his book, mudaf mudaf ilayh. Baytuna, our house. So these are all attached pronoun, but they are majroor because they are mudaf ilayh, mudaf mudaf ilayh. Wherever possible, only the attached pronouns should be used. Generally, you try to use attached pronoun as much as possible because they give you beauty. Where it is difficult to use them, or one cannot achieve one's specific purpose. For example, iyyaka na'budu. In that case, without that, you can't get that. Then one should use the detached or separated pronoun. For example, the dhamir marfu'a muttasil. Dhamair is plural, and that is jama ghair aqil. That's why you say dhamair marfu'a munfasila, the separated one, are used most often at the beginning of the sentence where a dhamir muttasil cannot be used. In the beginning, you can't say, how would you have the dhamir in the beginning? You can't start off with a dhamir that is detached because it must be at the beginning, and a dhamir does not exist unless it is attached to something. If you want to get the attached one, okay? So, huwa, you use in the beginning. Who you can't use, just who, rajul. Because who cannot exist without being connected to something. Or it is used for emphasis. Dhahabta anta, you did one, you definitely went. Or iyyaka na'budu, as we just mentioned. Dhamair mansuba munfasila are most often used for emphasis or specify. A'taytuka iyyak, I did give it to you. I did give it to you, like you. A'taytuka, I give it to you. Iyyaka, you, like, emphasizing on that. I give it to you. Iyyaka na'budu, I mentioned already. You alone, yeah. Dhamir bariz and mustatar, I also mentioned a little bit about that. Visible and concealed pronoun. Dhamair marfu'a muttasila can be of two types, either bariz or mustatir. Or mustatar. It could be mustatir, something which is concealed. Maf'ul, majhul form is better, mustatar than them, but people use both ways. It's hiding itself or we hid it. Fine. So dhamir bariz, when you see it, and dhamir mustatar, when you don't see it, or mustatir, both ways fine. So katabtu, see, you see the dhamir, katabtu, I wrote. Katabna, we wrote. Taktubani, you too write. This alif tathniya. Taktubuna, this wow. Remember, these noon are not dhamir. They are noon i'rabi. They are in place of tanween. They are the sign of marfu, mansub, and majroor state. So they in marfu state you have them. In mansub and majroor you elid them. You delete them. You remove them. So the dhamir are actually these. And they're all bariz, means you can see them. It's always found attached. And what about mustatir? Huwa, which is hidden inside. Katabat, never say this ta is a dhamir. This is actually the feminine sign of femininity. That this is a female word. The hiya is hidden inside. Mahallan marfu, because they are fa'il. Mahallan marfu'. They are mahallan marfu' mahallan. It should be marfu' mahallan. لأنهما, because they are fa'ilan, because they're both fa'il. Next, noon al-wiqaya. In certain circumstances, before the first person pronoun ya, a noon is inserted in order to save the i'rab of that last word. Because ya would dictate that everything before it should be with a kasra generally, or fatha. So this noon that you additionally add is called noonul wiqaya. Wiqaya means protection, to erect a shield. That is where the taqwa word taqwa come from. Wiqaya is the masdar of waqa yaqi. Waqa yaqi. This is where you derive this taqwa from. Bab ifti'al. For the root, rules of iftial, you've covered that already. So it was ibtaqaya, itqaya, and then ittaqa, and then taqwa as another masdar. So wiqaya. So it prevents, it protects the end of the word from any change. Look at that. Before attaching the pronoun ya at the end of madi, mudari, and amr, a noon is first inserted. Example, look at that. Allama. And you want to say, Allama, he wrote. Oh, no, he taught. Allamu, they all taught. Yu'allimu, they will teach, or they do teach. He teaches. Yu'allimani, they too. Those two men. Tu'allimuna, you all teach. Allim, Amr, you teach, O man. Allimi, O you female, you teach. So see, all of these are the mudari. And this is madi, mudari, and amr. Okay, so they have different forms. I just selected a few of them just to make it easy. So now you want to say, allama me. He taught me. How would you say? You have to add ya. Allamai. How would you say? Allamai. So if you say allami, it will become allami because ya dictate allamai or allami. If you say allamai, that doesn't help because you don't know whether you're tathniya or what form you're talking about. So Arabs use a noon to keep that allama, because you remember madi is mabni. It does not change its declension. So if you say allama and ya, allamai, allamu ya. How would you pronounce two sakin? You, wow, and ya there. Allamu and ya. How would you say that? Wow sakin, noon sakin. You can drop that allamui if you drop this ya, wow, because two sakin together. So allamui, allamai, allamui, yuallimui, yuallimanini, tuallimunani, allim, and again ya sakin, allim. You have to drop. You can't drop this meme and this ya because meme is not this meme is a true letter. It's not weak letter that alif or ya that you can drop. So allim and ya sakin as well. Allimi and other ya, how could you do that? So you won't be able to attach those without changing their form or without making changes to how you pronounce them. So it's going to be confusing. So Arabs, what they did, they would just put a noon to protect that form at the end. So allamai, no, they say allama ni. So they say rather than keeping it allamai, make it allama ni. So see, the allama is protected. This is madi, which is mabni. Allamu protected. Yuallimu protected. Yuallima ni protected. Tuallimuna protected. Allim protected. Allimi protected. All are protected by this noon. That's extra noon. So this noon is protecting the form of that madi, mudare, and amr in those circumstances when they are attached to a mutakallim ya, first person. So they are called noon wiqaya. This noon is called noon wiqaya. What they're saying that this is not right. We shouldn't be using these because that will be confusing. Noon wiqaya. It also happened with harf, certain harf, because they are mabniyat as well. So min and ya. So min and ya. How would you pronounce min ya? You can't pronounce min and ya. Noon sakin and ya sakin. You have to say minni, so extra noon, minni. An and ya, an, ya, how would you pronounce that? Ya sakin with noon sakin. And you can't drop this noon. Why? Because this is noon, not alif wa or ya that you can drop when two are together. So an, extra noon, ni. Inna, ni. Lakinna, ni. Later, ni. Ka'an, ni. There's one exception, la'alla. La'alla. So you could have said la'allani, should be la'allani. But Arabs give that la'alli is okay as well. So they use la'alli. La'alli. La'alli attali'u, as Quran says. So la'alli. Here they do not use noon, but there's obviously certain exception. So that's the main exception there. La'alli, not la'allani. Only they use it. La'allana for plural, yes, but for singular they say la'alli. That's one exception there. Now, the next dhamir is dhamir shan. ضمير شان. ضمير شان, sometimes a pronoun is mentioned at the beginning of a sentence, but it does not have a preceding source. That is, there is no word mentioned before it to which it can refer. It is only a pronoun of a singular masculine or feminine form. Such pronoun is called ضمير الشان. And the feminine is called ضمير قصة. ضمير القصة or ضمير الشان. For masculine, ضمير الشان. For feminine, ضمير القصة. So you would see the example. When translating, there's no need to provide a meaning for it. If one wants to translate it, one can say the matter is, the shan is, the qissa is, the story is, the narrative is. You can use that because this is called the ضمير الشان القصة. But you say, Huwa Allahu Ahad. So see, if you could just say Allahu Ahad, Allah is one. You did not need say Huwa Allahu Ahad. You could just say, or this Huwa at the beginning is putting some extra emphasis and beautifying the sentence. So the shan is, the matter is, the reality is, the fact is that Allah is one. That's how you translate if you wanted to. Or you just say Allah is one. Huwa Allahu Ahad. Or you could just say Allahu Ahad, obviously not in Quran, but generally if you wanted to say, you can convey the meaning by saying Allahu Ahad. It beautifies it. فإنها لا تعمل أبصار ولكن تعمل قلوب التي في الصدور. Okay. فإنها. So you did not need that إنها. You could just say فإن, indeed, لا تعمل أبصار, indeed, the eyes do not get blind. ولكن, rather, the heart gets blind, the ones which are in the chest. These physical heart, they get, like, the metaphorical heart or the physical heart, that can get blinded. Like, you can get mentally blinded. You can get, like, intellectually blinded. You can't see the truth. It doesn't have to be the eyes only getting blind. So فَإِنَّهَا, why you need ha? You don't. This is called ضمير قصة. It is just beautifying, making it much more magnificent, eloquence. There's stress there. ضمير الشان. In Arabic, the source, marja is where you return, is mentioned first, after which the pronoun referring to it is mentioned. Marja. The pronoun ismul ishara is not included in this rule. So normally you have to do that, but for ismul ishara you could do that. ضمير فاصل. What is ضمير فاصل? When the predicate khabar is definite, ma'rifah, and there is a possibility of the predicate being confused with an objective, it could become sifa. So you put a ضمير مرفوع منفصل, not ضمير مرفوع منفصل. You add that ضمير مرفوع منفصل. So you are allowed just to ضمير مرفوع منفصل. Okay, between the subject and the predicate, mubtada and khabar. The word form of the pronoun will correspond with the mubtada. So an example is this: Inna Allaha huwa ar-razzaq. So you could just say Allahu ar-razzaq or Inna Allaha ar-razzaq, Inna Allaha ar-razzaq. But if you say Inna Allaha ar-razzaq, it could be confusing for people to think maybe this Allah is ma'rifah. Obviously we know ar-razzaq is ma'rifah. The two ma'rifahs together, maybe they are mawsuf sifa. Allah, the provider, as opposed to Allah is the provider. So the complete sentence would be a little bit dubious for people to make. So in that situation, you can add a dhamir fasil, a dhamir which distinguish. Fasil means to create a fasila. Munfasil likewise, create a gap. So that would do the distinction. It would just separate them, because mawsuf sifa are normally together. So you just separate them so that people do not get confused by thinking that it may be mawsuf sifa. So this is dhamir fasil. Undoubtedly, indeed, undoubtedly, only Allah provides sustenance. Ulaika al-muflihun. Ulaika al-muflihun, you could say these are the successful ones. But if you say ulaika al-muflihun, these successful ones, and then it could be mawsuf sifat, and you want to get a predicate afterwards. So just to avoid that, you have ulaika humul muflihun. There's emphasis, and there is a confusion is being eliminated. ضمير فاصل. If the ضمير is removed from the middle, I keep saying number. Sorry about that. They're close to each other, that's why. If the ضمير is removed from the middle, it will become مركب توصيفي, an adjectival clause, and the meaning will change. Therefore, it is called ضمير فاصل, a ضمير which distinguishes between the khabar and the sifa. Similarly, in place of khabar, if there is relative اسم التفضيل, there too a ضمير is inserted. Okay. كان حامد هو أفضل من خالد. So حامد أفضل من خالد. You could use, if you say حامد أفضل من خالد, حامد أفضل is like is more better, he's better than Khalid. Saying Khalid هو أفضل, it beautifies it and it's better to do like this. Okay, finally. أنت تكرمني, some example. أنت تكرمني. So أنت is ضمير مرفوع منفصل, واحد مذكر مخاطب, second person, مبتدأ, it is معرفة. تكرم is فعل مضارع. You, so فعل مضارع معروف, you honor. مرفوع, why? Because فعل is مرفوع with the ضمير in it. The ضمير is أنت, which is hidden inside تكرم. The ta would tell you that there is a ضمير hidden inside. تكرم. ني, me. تكرم ني. That noon is noon وقاية. يا الضمير and it's منصوب. Why? Because تكرم ني. فعل and if attached pronoun is always going to be مفعول and it is منصوب and it's attached. تكرمني. 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 واحد متكلم, ني is obviously واحد متكلم, مفعول, that's why it's منصوب. فعل with this file and مفعول becomes جملة فعلية, and together it becomes the خبر of this مبتدا. So مبتدا خبر جملة اسمية. Another one. أنلزمكموها. أنلزمكموها. is استفهام, حرف استفهام. نلزم. ألزم يلزم. ألزم نلزم. So we. Am I going to? Are we going to? نلزم. Make it must for you to do that. Am I going to force you to do it? Am I going to put this on you as a? So فعل مضارع معروف بعد إفعال, جمع متكلم, yeah, we, فيه ضمير مستتر, نحن is hidden inside, noon is hinting to that, it's فاعل because that ضمير is always the file in the verb, the فعل. محلا مرفوع because ضمير is a doer, doer is مرفوع by default. كم, so it was كم, ضمير كم, and you all, plural masculine. ضمير منصوب attached to the فعل is منصوب متصل and is جمع مخاطب addressed second person. مفعول محلا منصوب because ضمير محلا منصوب because they're مبنيات. ها is the ضمير منصوب. another one متصل, واحد مؤنث غائب, مفعول الثاني, two مفعول. Am I going to put this, make it must, make this must on you? So you plus it, these are two ضمائر there, yeah. So أنلزمكموها وأنتم لها كارهون. While you don't like it, am I going to make it? Am I going to force it to do something that you don't want? To make you, accept Islam and you don't want to do it. So it doesn't happen. You do not force people to do things. Allah says, we don't. الفعل مع الفاعل والمفعول جملة فعلية استفهامية. This is استفهام, question. Together they become the خبر. هذا جملة في محل رفع جملة. Obviously we talk about that at some point. So we leave it here إن شاء الله تعالى. جزاك الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.